Hi everyone. Sorry that I'm not there. I managed to get Corona just a few days before, so I couldn't travel much. So I'm sharing my screen. Hopefully you can all see my screen. A little bit about myself. I am a chief data scientist and director in PricewaterhouseCoopers in Finland. I'm responsible for AI development in Nordic. I have actually multiple hats. I'm a full professor in University of Tartu in Estonia. I'm head of AI in LSU Bank in Estonia, and also leading AI development in few other vendor. And what I'm going to talk is that a little bit about the big impact that this generative AI have introduced in the concept of responsible AI and the activities that we are doing in line of that. In order to talk about this, let's look at what is the current state of AI. And I'm sure that you all have a good understanding that what AI is and what's the relationship of AI as a whole and subsets in the machine learning, deep learning, and generative AI. As you know, the artificial intelligence try to mimic the human intelligence. And like human, that we need to do lots of learning, machine requires to do also lots of learning. And one of the way of doing this learning is happening by deep learning. And inside this deep learning, apart from many of the supervised and reinforcement learning that we do, we are also conducting unsupervised learning. And inside this unsupervised learning, we are conducting semi-supervised learning, which is the basis of the generative AI. So this slide is kind of shows you that the whole concept and big wow that we have around this generative AI is actually around a narrow AI, which means that the generative AI have huge capacity and capabilities of doing lots of things for you. But when it comes to execution of many of those ones, it cannot. It's still a narrow AI. We are working towards to have AGI, artificial general intelligence, but still we are a bit far away from reaching that goal. Of course, around 6, 7, 8 years ago, when we were talking about artificial intelligence and machine learning, we were talking about before deep learning and after deep learning. And I believe that things have changed significantly. And the line that we need to draw is by the 6th of December in 2017. Before 6th of December 2017, we had this basic deep learning model. And on 6th of December 2017, Google introduced the paper called Attention is All You Need, in which it introduced the transformers. Transformers are the fundamental units of all sorts of the GPTs and things that we have with the generative AI. And since then, we are seeing the huge growth and changes that have been introduced to us, and nowadays we are using and we are targeting towards AGI. Actually, if you are zooming in better, we will see this significant impact. If we are considering human performance at the line 0 on late 90s, we start to see that there have been lots of attempts in order to do several sorts of classifications and use of machine learning, in which we had this handwriting recognition and speech recognition. And the performance of them all were existing in the -100 in the scale that 0 is human. And as time goes and we are starting to see more significant developments are happening, and the intelligence and performance of the machine starts to get close to the human. And as we are standing in 2023, going soon to 2024, we are seeing that many of the processes that we had, such as language understanding, reading and doing a better comprehension, image recognition, their performances start to go above 0, which means that they perform better than human. One thing that this graph is actually corresponding is, as you can see, as time goes, the growth of each of these algorithms start to significantly go sharper. Before, we need to have 20, 30 years in order to improve the performance gradually. And nowadays, we can see that we can improve the understandings and performance of the machine versus human in a relatively much faster pace. That is the part that actually start to rise lots of risk associated to AI. So there is this big questions, how far we are from this super AI, the artificial general intelligence, something that some people are creating transparency of the singularity, where the AI become better than human, we have the super AI, and then there will be the end of the human being. there are various ways of looking at this problem. And one of the ways that I'm describing is that in order to have the super AI, we need to have 8 particular categories that AI need to be superior than human. Let's say on desire, on conscious, on cognitions, and so on and so forth. Today, as we are speaking, 7 of them, we are still better than AI, and it's only on the intelligence level, which we have this concept of super intelligence. We are seeing it in the synthetic AI, and that it is better than human. It's a narrow AI that we are seeing. Now, the other ones, still, scientists are working, we are trying to introduce it, but still we have, AI has not yet reached to that level that performs better than human. Let's give an example of consciousness. When the GPT 4.0 was being trained, there have been tests, and in one of the tests, they showed a meme to human and to AI. And the meme was that there was a funny meme, the person was playing a piano at the back of a taxi. They showed the human group of people, the test group that they had, people start to laugh at that meme. They showed it to the GPT 4.0, and what AI did, AI started to describe it, said that this is a funny meme of a person playing behind a piano. It is funny because you cannot have a piano behind a car. So this is called consciousness. Consciousness is that you will not describe and bring a reasoning out of an event, and you are reacting to that particular event, like you are laughing at something which is very funny. But the AI is not yet laughing at that. It starts to create a reasoning. It's like you tell a joke, but people, instead of laughing at it, they start to analyze and you start to describe it, and it will not be funny anymore. It will be very nice reasoning discussions, but it will lost the whole concept. So this is one of the examples that we are seeing that human is way above than AI. Of course, there are various ways that AI has been introducing an impact in our life, and one of them is the use of the artificial intelligence, in particular generative AI, in order to generate the videos. We are seeing lots of deep fake videos are being generated. There has lots of advantage of that one. One of the most famous one is this video that I'm playing. I don't know if you will be able to hear the audio or not.
Not as an expert, but as a concerned citizen.
One of the 400,000 people.
I don't know if you are able to hear the audio.
The billions of others around the world who want to solve our climate crisis.
Regardless if you can hear the video or not, you can always Google the DiCaprio and 11 Labs, and you will be able to see this amazing video that has been created by one AI research lab, and they are synthesizing different sorts of audios on the original video. So DiCaprio actually goes to United Nations and talk about the climate change. So all the wording and scenarios are right, but there are lots of different people's synthetic voices are being added. Now, it is very cool because it means that you can do lots of cool marketing using famous people's videos and voice, given that you have paid all the copyrights and associated commercial rights to the sources. So without having huge amount of money allocated for that marketing. But at the same time, it can become also very scary because you can create lots of content, which can create lots of misinformation and misleading of the people. We have seen time to time use of that one in the political rivalry and similar situations. Now, till about a few years ago, if somebody wanted to create this, they needed to have sophisticated hardware, a good amount of knowledge, and a huge amount of time in order to do it. Today, you can do it with a few minutes and lots of cloud tools which are existing with a very minimal amount of payment. And that is what's making it even more scary, because it is now accessible to the hands of everyone, not only good people, but also the bad people, which kind of created bridge towards the risks of AI. There are lots of risk existing inside these concepts of this generative AI. A majority of them are somehow related to the ethical concerns. Deepfake, the example that I showed you, and I will play another example that you will be able to see this scenario of the deepfake. Deepfake means that you are generating so realistic video or image or content, which is creating a doubt on human brain to verify the originality of that thing. It is being used quite a lot for the misinformation, manipulation of public. The other issue is that the bias that it is creating, bias on creating of that data and bias that it is inherited from the data that it gets. For instance, such a generation of content can be used in order to reduce the impact of the minority into the overall population of the data that you have, especially if there have been a huge bias inside the data. Your model has learned that bias, and it will start to generate more bias inside the next corpus of the data that you will use in order to train it. That being said, of course, there are lots of privacy and intellectual property concerns, like you are training your AI with the voice or with the videos or with the pictures or with the text of people and authors and well-known actors. And the question is that how we have to pay for all of those rights. Here is another example, famous example of deepfake, which I would like you to see, but I think that the video is not working somehow. I tried it, but it didn't work. That's absolutely right. It's a
I'm not Morgan Freeman.
I don't know if you would be able
What
to
you
see.
is not real. Well,
I guess not, but that's all right. Now, this being said, I would like to bring up one more very big concern and issue. In May 2023, I find in some forums some information which was very interesting, and I couldn't cross-reference it, but in the forum it said that per second there are 2 million texts which is being generated by ChatGPT, which goes publicly live in the World Wide Web. So per second, 2 million. Imagine how much it would be per year. So you multiply 3,600 to make it an hour, and then multiply it by 24, and then multiply it by 365, then multiply it by 2 million. Now, why it becomes a concern? Because let's say that GPT 5.0 is already being trained and so on, but when we are training the GPT 6.0, it means that we need to have more source of data. And all these texts that are being generated by AI and have been provided into the World Wide Web will be utilized into this GPT, let's say 6.0. There is a saying that if you tell a lie big enough and keep repeating it, people will eventually come to believe it. So it means that the content that AI is generating, which might not be necessarily true, can be in such a big volume that the next versions of AI keep learning it, and it starts to become part of the fact. And this is the scary part, because it's become even more and more difficult and complicated to separate the source of the truth inside the data. We know that in some big news channels, we have this fact check and they are checking it, because still the volume of those news are not yet that much that the algorithms fails or human fail. But with this speed that we are growing, it is expected potentially in the next 6 months, any algorithm which is doing the fact check will start to leak huge volume of fake information as a true information, because the AI is becoming smarter and the quality of generated news has become so realistic that the other algorithms or even humans start to adopt over that one. Now, this being said, I want you to think a little bit. Think about a few concepts. One of the concepts is called concept of personalization of news. When AI came, one of the big benefits that it introduced was personalization of an offer. Personalization is very good because when you go to a news website, you will see the categories or type of news that you like to hear, like only sports or some particular political party that you are following. Now imagine that AI start to decide what part of the news you have to listen. or you have to know, you think that it is personalized, but it can be actually manipulated in a very smart form. Then it means that after some period of time, you and your friend know about one common event, but have totally different perspective because of the way that AI decides that you look into it. What if AI understands that it needs to actually get more power in order to survive? What it means is that I remember when I was a kid, we used to watch sci-fi movies that when computers were taking over of human race, and my mom used to say that, hey, you know, you can just unplug the computer and it will be all okay. So what if the computing powers, the AI, understand that it needs a huge source of energy? An infinite amount of source of energy come, for example, with the hydrogen fusion, which we have it on the sun, and then try to turn Earth into the sun. Of course, there is a huge debate. Then if AI, this artificial intelligence, wants to turn Earth into the sun, which means that it will also die, is it really intelligent? So it goes to this conspiracy, but it is a very good topic to think about because it helps us to design the responsible AI much, much better. The other one is defining a goal. And this is actually something that Elon Musk talk a lot about it. Let's say that you in the morning you wake up and at 7 o'clock and you have to walk to or drive to work and you have to be at work by 9 o'clock. And if you get to the work by 9 o'clock, it means that you have accomplished your mission. However, on the way that you are waking up at 7 o'clock and walk to get to the work, maybe you are putting your feet on lots of ants and lots of snakes, and you are killing lots of these sorts of small beings that we don't potentially care about their life, maybe. Or maybe while you were walking, you just step over a dicey flower and you killed that particular flower. It doesn't mean that you are a bad person. It doesn't mean that you woke up in the morning and made a checklist that on the way to go to the office, I'm gonna break 10 flowers and so on and so forth. And when you get to the office at 9 o'clock, everybody is happy because you accomplished your goal. Now, what Elon Musk said that AI can define a goal, and in order to reach to that goal, it can do whatever it is needed to reach to that particular goal, which makes actually that one is very, very scary. Think of about Boston Dynamics robots that they define a goal and nothing can stop those a robot dog in order, for instance, to reach to that particular goal. And of course, another big issue is this intellectual property that you are training an AI, let's say on Morgan Freeman videos and sounds, and it generates something which is very Morgan Freeman-ish, but it's not Morgan Freeman. The question is that, does Morgan Freeman get anything out of that one? Should Morgan Freeman get anything out of that one? And there are lots of legal people who are working and dealing with this, and they don't know yet about what would be the ultimate answer to that question. Of course, the one thing is that things are very scary. Maybe we really need to book our ticket and go to the Mars and restart again, or we have to find a solution. And luckily, there is a good solution, which is called the responsible AI solution. And there are lots of responsible AI toolkits in PwC. We have been developing it for 7 years, which is look into this problem and divide different type of risks which are associated to AI and try to minimize it by doing series of upskilling and developing algorithm which is monitoring these activities. And what we do is that we are taking the AI and the risk associated to that, and we are dividing it into two categories. The first category is called application level risk. Application level risk are the risks which are associated to the performance, like risk on the bias, the risk on the fairness of the AI. Or then we have the security risk, such as adversarial attack. Adversarial attack means that you go to the training data and you're changing the label associated to those training data so that the AI will learn something very wrong. So as a result, it is causing some damage. In May 2020, they arrested somebody in Tesla who tried to do that one. And he was trying to relabel a school zone area sign into 60 miles per hour. So that when the car in the autonomous form comes to the school zone area, see the sign, it starts to drive fast. So from AI perspective, it is doing something which is very okay because the label data is like that. It's called adversarial attack. And there are ways to develop algorithms systematically look into it, or looking into the control or governance. AI can sometimes go rogue. It meant not to do something, but it started to do it. So usually what happens, there is an AI, another algorithm, another deep neural network, which is watching this deep neural network, which is doing the activity. So these sorts of monitoring is very, very useful. And the other category of risk is that one that is not at the application layer. They are more usually at the enterprise, national, or union level, like GDPR, ethical rules and regulations. We know that AI, especially Gen AI, has started to introduce lots of efficiency in the works, which is resulting that many people will become jobless. The question is that, okay, these people will become jobless, they need time in order to upskill to find a new job. But what should the government do during that period of time? So there are lots of economical or social issues which are associated to that one. And in responsible AI toolkits, these are the type of things that are being handed. So governments will know what they have to do. Startups know what they have to do. Corporates know what they have to do, and so on and so forth. Of course, responsible AI concept is not a new topic. It's a topic that we knew it and we try to implement it. It is not a silver bullet. It's not one algorithm. It's actually a series of processes that need to be taken from the beginning that you are planning and drawing the strategy until the end that you are trying to implementing it. It's like a traffic lights that we have. The traffic light is not there in the street in order to stop you driving, or is not there in order to always let you cross the street. Traffic light is there in order to introduce some sets of regulation which allows the car pass safely and also allows you to cross the street safely. So this is how the responsible AI in this era of generative AI actually act. Now, this is a new statistics that IDC has conducted. They have asked 890 big corporates, and they asked that what is the big barrier that, given all these risks associated to AI and Gen AI, what are the risks which makes them not to utilize generative AI to the fullest? 44% of them, they were referring as the security concern to be the best and the most important reason for them not to utilize Gen AI. And the second reason is the privacy concerns which are associated to that. Of course, this being said, although Gen AI meant to be very user-friendly and easy to adopt, but still there are lots of difficulty of adopting it into the existing process for the bigger scales. And also the trustworthiness of this is subject to questions. We are seeing lots of time that, for instance, the LLMs are producing nicely logical but completely wrong results. Now, of course, this being said, as the previous talk was mentioning, all this risk associated to AI and Gen AI heavily depends on the amount of data and the type of data that we feed in. And in my opinion, this data is actually the most important risky thing that we are dealing with. Consider a bulldozer, which is a very strong vehicle which can destroy a building. But a bulldozer, without having any petrol inside it, if its tank is empty, has literally zero power. The same thing happens with the AI and data. Data is the fuel and it's very, very important. Of course, as I also earlier mentioned, in particular with the generative AI, we start to have huge challenge. Goldman Sachs said that 300 million jobs will be or are being lost due to this impact of Gen AI and AI as whole. So the question is that if we are losing the job, how we can protect it, how we can assure that we are always kind of surfing on top of this wave. There are lots of people who have done lots of studies. They have found out that one of the skill sets that human can have, and currently AI doesn't have it, is a soft skill. Hard skills is now AI has, and you can always utilize it. Soft skills are something which is very, very important. Soft skills is like the first impressions that we are leaving behind. How we are communicating. are we able to transfer the knowledge or the things that we find out to the next group, to the next people? And the beautiful part of this soft skill is, even if you don't have it, you can improve it, you can practice it, and so on and so forth. There is a QR that you can scan, and you can actually try this tool, AI tool, which is helping you. You can submit a video, and it does the analysis of how, what type of soft skills you have, or as you can see in here, what type of impression you are leaving behind, taking into account the audio-visual data that you are giving it. Your video, your audio, and the speech that you are making will help in order for AI to understand. That being said, this is the end of my slide presentation. I'm sorry that I'm not presenting in there. As I said, yesterday was very bad, but today I'm better. I got corona, so I had to stay away. I would be happy if there is any question to answer your questions. If not, I hope that you will enjoy the rest of the conference.